What's going on? Welcome to the 5-Minute Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colton Olson, and on this podcast, we spend about 5 minutes, I say about 5, give or take a couple sometimes, breaking down and teaching you to apply psychological concepts that world-class athletes, CEOs, coaches, and elite military units use to take their performance to the next level. The key word here is apply. I don't want you to come here and just get a bunch of information and not know how to use it. I want you to leave here every day feeling like you have something in your hands that you can use right away to improve your life. Let's get to it. Today's episode comes from one of the coolest stories I was ever told, one of my favorite stories of all time. The story was told by an older guy who was an Army vet, and he worked in Special Forces for a long time. I can't remember what branch he was in, but he was a Special Forces operator for a number of years. And he told us this story of one of the trainings he did, a hand-to-hand combat training when he was just coming up. And so for this training, their whole group, however many there were, 15, 20 of them, followed their instructor into this room where they normally did their hand-to-hand combat training. It looked like a normal dojo or where you usually do karate. And they got out there. The instructor went out front and said, "We're going to circle up today. You're going to each step in the circle one by one. When you get out here, I'm going to put this hood over your head so you can't see. And then after you collect yourself for a moment, I will rip the hood off your head and someone's going to come and punch you in the face." And he tells this and they're all kind of frozen, right? Like, what do you mean I'm going to get punched in the face? And he goes, "To demonstrate, I'll go first." So he goes out in the middle. They stand in a circle. They put the hood over the guy's head, rip the hood off. Somebody punches him in the face. 2 more guys jump in, and he neutralizes it, right? He subdues the 3 guys, whatever gets out of it. And then they proceed to go one by one, and they all get punched in the face. So this sounds like an intense story, right? But it teaches lessons that are really valuable for people in any area. Athletics, business, school, whatever. We aren't going to get physically punched in the face like they did. Well, hopefully not. But we are going to face adversity on a regular basis. And those moments of adversity, those unexpected moments of adversity, are pretty much punches in the face. And unfortunately, when we are punched, when we face these unexpected moments of adversity, we usually don't handle them well. We get sent into a panic, and instead of taking a moment to gather ourselves and make a plan to handle the situation, we take a deep dive into our emotions, we look for somebody or something to blame, and we start thinking about how we're completely doomed. This doesn't work, at least not in a timely manner. Eventually, we'll be pulled out of this panic, and we'll find a way to handle the situation, but it's usually too late. The damage is done, and as a result, we find ourselves way behind and in a compromised position. So, what should we do when we're punched in the face? The story alludes to it a little bit, but when we do take these punches, we need to do 4 things. First, we need to assess the situation. Getting punched means we're in a situation that we don't like and that we want to get out of. But if we want to get out of it, we have to know exactly what we're dealing with. And the tricky part about this is battling that natural desire to panic and just start throwing punches back. We see this a lot. Something happens and people freak out and just start trying a bunch of stuff. We don't want to do that. Don't lash out. Take a breath and work to understand the challenge you're facing. That's how you start taking it on. Second, we need to identify the tools that we have that are going to help us handle the situation. In the story, the tools that they used were hand-to-hand combat skills. In our lives, we're going to use problem-solving skills, communication, focus, creativity, things like that. We need to know our strengths and leverage those strengths to handle the situation. So, know our skills, know our strengths. Third, we have to trust those skills and those strengths we know we have and use them without hesitation. Too often, we make a plan to handle a certain situation and we end up hesitating, second-guessing what we're about to do. This breeds uncertainty and it throws us into paralysis by analysis. We want trust and concise action. So commit to using your strengths and fight your way out. That's key. Commit to concise action. Trust what you can. And last, lean on the people around you. You almost always have people that are willing to fight alongside you, so don't try to be a hero and think you have to do it all alone. Pairing your strengths with other people's strengths is just going to speed up the process and bring about better solutions. So lean on the people around you. I usually do 3 specific tactics at the end of each episode, but the previous section was essentially just our tactics section, and it was actually 4 tactics for handling unexpected adversity or punches that we take. And so today I want to focus more on an idea or a challenge. So the idea that I want you to embrace is that you're going to get punched in the face. You can't escape it. I had a college professor, a math professor once, and his line was, "You can't escape." And what he used to do is he would write problems on the board. He'd call people out randomly, bring them up to the front of the room, and he would say, I wrote this problem specially for you, and there is no way to escape. And he wouldn't humiliate him. He would take them through it. He'd walk them through until they got the answer right and they understood it. He was essentially throwing one of these punches. But we need to embrace this idea in our lives. The punches are coming, and when we do, we can't escape it. So when you get punched in the face, I challenge you to do the things we just discussed a bit ago. Combat your natural response to panic. Handle the punch like a trained warrior. You've already been punched in the face before. You can handle it. When the next one comes, know you've got the tools what you need. Don't hesitate to use them and take it on. So that's all we got for today. If you enjoy the podcast, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and I'll see you back here next time on 5 Minute Mindset.